Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning, as I hope we always do. I want to say good morning to everybody that's listening. We got a topic, and I want the tardiness, all my fault. I want to apologize to each and every one of you, but I think the pillow one this morning, I wasn't able to get up and get motivated this morning, so I just wanted to send out that apology everybody that's listening. We got people coming on the phone lines. I see it's popping off this morning. So good morning. So, but right before I do anything else, I got to say good morning to a few people. Got a few people with us this morning, and I got to go ladies first. Cassandra, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Okay, short and sweet. Latoya with a T. Good morning. How you doing this morning? Toya.
Morning, morning.
Oh, okay. I thought you had went to sleep on me. I said, God almighty. Good morning to you. Captain Leonard. Good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Raheem and the Morning Glow family.
Man, we got a topic. We're gonna jump right into our topic today. We ain't gonna play around. We're gonna go straight into this topic because I know it's gonna be good. Don't know if it's gonna go the whole time, but we're gonna talk about it as long and as hard and as deep as we can. And I want to ask a question. Kids, our kids. We sometimes expect a lot out of them. We send them to school, send them out into the world. We want them to perform and to be at their best. We want them to be at their best all the time, not just sometimes, but all the times. But I'm gonna deal with this from the school setting. And Cassandra, I'm gonna ask you this question: If a child, if a child,
Excuse me, Newton County DOC.
okay, something just happened. Something just happened there. Okay, there we go. If a child is in school and the parent, I mean the parents certainly want them to perform, and the teachers and the administration want them to perform. Cassandra, how difficult is it when that child is hungry? That child just hadn't had the food to eat. That child is, wondering and worrying where the next meal is going to come from because he didn't get the last one. Cassandra,
Yeah,
first of all, is that something that really happens? But go ahead.
it happens, and I know even when I was a kid, my mom was struggling. It was five of us, and it was mornings that the only thing that saved us is that they started doing breakfast at school.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We didn't have it at the house. We didn't.
Mm-hmm.
We did not have anything to fix at the house.
Mm-hmm.
And you talking about eating the end of bread, the bread end in which most people throw away.
Yes.
Man, that throwing some mayonnaise or something on it, sometime that would be all you had.
Mm-hmm.
So saving, being able to eat at school really helped us. But there are children, and I've dealt with some when I taught school, that if they did not have school food at school, they would not have breakfast, and that's the worst thing you can do for children because they need that boost in the morning to
Mm-hmm.
give them even the energy to focus.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. And how disheartening is that to think in a country as great as quarter America is, you got some people that can't even have a breakfast before they go to school. Toya, what's on your heart, sister? How do you view this? It's hard for them to learn when they're hungry, but this is America. How could that be?
And because if you're waiting on America to do something, then you're gonna keep on waiting. It's up to us. We make America.
Mm-hmm.
Like we be talking about stuff as if it's another entity or something, and it's not. We are America.
Mm-hmm.
So you got people in your community that's hungry. That's on you. But let me go back and throw this out there. So we traded in what God gave us, build our own homes, be able to grow our own food on our own land.
Mm-hmm.
We traded that into people to buy homes and now to buy food. So now all this dirt we got around here, if you was to go outside, throw some seeds on the ground, I believe they sprout up. But for some reason, we got this elephant syndrome to where we can only eat if the government feed us.
Mm.
That's not true. We can
Mhm.
grab flower pots. See, America has taken away our creativity. It's taken away from getting it out the mud. Now we got to come up with new ways because it's like we're zombies now. Oh, I can't eat. Oh, I can't do this without America. And that's not true. Go buy you $3 pack of seeds, honey. Find you some land somewhere around here, back off in one of them woods and grow some.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
understand what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, we're suffering from this elephant tied up syndrome. And now that they took the little tie off the leg, we're still not going any further, waiting on somebody to do something for us. And we have to stop that. That's not the case. We don't have to starve over here, and we don't have to wait on America.
Mhm.
That's one. But for individuals, how many people have you fed today? If all of
Wow.
us on this
Wow.
line
Mhm.
notice that we have an issue with hungry and homeless, how many of us are not stingy? Oh, I can't cook all that food and give all that food away. Just be riding up on my food, give it to the people. You know, we got kids that eat, they act like they're eating their food, they sneak their food to school to someone else that they know that don't have
Mhm.
food.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
we really have to work together as individuals in our communities, in our hometowns. And if we know there's a problem, we have to stand up and do something about it. All of us got a nice, decent amount of food to where we can go give 5 cans or something, a bag of rice, and 5 pack of hot dogs to give to
Mhm.
somebody if they know that they might be struggling.
Exactly. Exactly. And let's keep this thing going. Captain Leonard, good. Somebody say good morning. I'm reading and talking to you at the same time. But Captain
Mhm.
Leonard, what do you say to that, man? This is supposed to be the greatest country in the world, yet we got kids that's going to school hungry that don't have anything to eat, and we expecting them to perform and do your best, become your best. You know, education is the key. You got to go there. You got to perform, but they're hungry. They're hungry. Talk to me, Leonard.
Well, first of all, it's not America's problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's a parenting problem.
Mm.
Okay? Ain't no
Mm.
shortage of food in America. There's free food. I guarantee you. There's a free food program in every corner of this freaking planet in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
How many churches on the corner? You ever knock on those doors for food? The free
Mm.
lunch program is a response to poor parenting. You're your parents' responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Now, even poor people have access to more than enough food. Why you're not getting it? Are you misappropriating it? Somebody had you because you didn't just get off a spaceship. If you in the government's care, they make sure you eat in the morning. Even prisoners eat. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times we have to look at the efficacy of that food program and what it does. It works for kids that go to school in the morning.
See, my thing is, and this is not gonna be a very popular answer, but it's okay. My thing is right here. Yes, it is a parenting problem. I can agree. A part of me can agree with you on that. But sometimes when we know, and there's a situation where there's a child in a situation where they have a piss poor parent, you know, I think we have to take a responsibility to do what needs to be done for that child because, oh, like the old saying goes, that child did not ask to be here. That
Like I
child
said,
didn't ask to be here.
children could come to our home for free breakfast and every morning.
Mm-hmm. That's
Every
good.
morning.
That's
Every
good.
morning.
That's good.
So one, I'm not on that end of what people don't have.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on that end of where if you know a child like that, you better be feeding them.
Mm-hmm.
So this issue, we have to understand where it comes from in order
Mm-hmm.
to resolve it. And you'll
Mm-hmm.
find out it's parenting.
Okay, but and let's because I got a few other people I want to go to, Leonard, so I don't want to play. You know, you can't play tennis, so I got to go some more people into the conversation. But my thing is, I'm not disagreeing with you. It could very well be a parenting issue, but because of the parenting issue, these children are still hungry. My thing is, we got to make sure these children are fed, because
Well,
if we're
most
expecting
children
certain,
are fed in America when they go to public school.
there was a time,
But that ain't now.
There was a time, and there's still a time today where I know, and I hope she don't mind me saying this, Lord. I hope she don't. I know that my wife, when she was a teacher, she's an administrator now, but when she was a teacher, she had to, certain kids she had to feed before they got started in their classroom, because yes, they had a free breakfast in the school, but it cut off at a certain time. And if these children come to school late and they miss the breakfast, these children still have to eat. And so
it's not a food issue. It's not a food issue.
Well, it is a food issue if they don't have it.
It's a timeliness issue.
It's a food issue. Yes, it is.
The food is there.
If they cut that cafeteria, if they close the cafeteria doors at a certain time, these children come to school late because the parent didn't get them up in time to get to that school building. Y'all raise your hands, all that stuff. No. Y'all looking at no. Y'all looking at one side. Y'all not looking at the whole side of the coin. Other side of the coin is, if this should, I know, because my wife is an educator. I know how this thing works. Because Sandra, she's a former educator. I'm sure she knows as well. But listen, my thing is this right here. If that child get to school late because the parent didn't get them up in time, they get to school late, that kitchen is closed and they don't have access to the food, that's what my wife had to come in and make sure this child eat. So it's not as cut and dry as y'all are saying.
So the food is still there.
It doesn't matter whether the food is there or not if they can't get to it.
They're not coming on time.
Look, the money's in the bank, but it ain't yours. The money's in the bank, but it ain't yours.
But you're not showing up on time.
The money's in the bank, but it ain't yours. The money's there, but it ain't your money.
My son got up yesterday and he said, "Do you think you can make me some breakfast?" No. You can make your own breakfast, so you can be up on time when I'm making breakfast.
Leonard, you can't gauge the whole world on how.
But that's the whole intention of the school program. That's the entire intention of the free lunch program in American public schools.
That's beautiful. But again, if the parents are not doing what they're supposed to do, and this child up late, this child get to school late, the cafeteria, the free lunch, the cafeteria is closed now.
You're absolutely right.
The cafeteria is preparing for lunch. So my thing is this right here. This child still have to eat.
But let me go. It sound like it was an American food problem.
I'm making it feel like it. I'm making it sound to me, and I may have been a little clumsy in my delivery. But what I'm trying to say is no. What I'm trying to say is this right here, and I can agree on a part of that. But what I'm trying to say is this right here. We have to make sure that these children eat. Bottom line, we could dance around this thing all we want to. We could play tennis back and forth. But at the end of the day, if this child is hungry, it's going to be very difficult for this child to perform. Curtis, what's on your heart, brother? And good morning. How you doing this morning?
What's going on? How y'all doing?
Hey, doing good. What's on your heart, brother?
Well, I mean, I don't know if you guys had already talked about it.
Hey, Kurt, you real low, brother. You real low.
But I don't know if you guys have talked about it already. Because when I called earlier, I was in queue. If I just take what both of you guys are saying for face value, then both of you guys have a point. All right. I don't even think there's an argument there. There's great levels of poor parenting in our society, but to just cast it off and make it so finite like that, I gotta see both sides of the spectrum, because in these cities right now, and I deal with the homeless every day, 24 hours a day, days a week. That's my job. You have food deserts. Leonard is right in saying that the food is available. But the downside to that is you no longer have families where the daddy is at work and the mama's at home taking care of the kids. Now you have either the mama's at work and there's no daddy, or both the mama and daddy work, and they work these minimal jobs, these low wage earning jobs. So Therefore, they got to work 2 jobs, or in some cases 3 jobs, just to be able to afford the rent. So there is, like you were saying, Raheem, there are some, I guess they would call them the mitigating circumstances. There are other barriers as to why these kids are hungry, or why these kids go up to the school and maybe did not have breakfast. You know, there is a food stamp program, but I don't know when the last time y'all had to deal with the food stamp program. The food stamp program is so wishy-washy now. You know, I done had to put in paperwork over the last 6 months. I done had to put in paperwork for the same client every bit at a minimum 6 different times, because one month they got this, then the next month they got that. I've had youth participants who was getting, for example, $240 a month without any notice. Their food stamps got cut down right before we changed presidents. Their food stamps got cut down to $31, and they on them for 2 months. So I literally had to resubmit paperwork, and then they got their monthly, what they was normally getting, plus what the balance of what was left when they got cut. So, like, there are other things going on that is perpetuating these issues. In most of our hoods, there's no longer a grocery store. There's no longer a produce store, grocery store, anything. All that's been moved out now. For the family who can't afford a car, their only means of transportation is, you know, there's families that nobody in the family got a car. Their only means of transportation is, I'm spending large amounts of money on Uber, in which your Uber ain't gonna wait for you, right? Or catching a cab or catching the bus. So, and the got to travel could exceed an hour by bus or by metro. It could exceed an hour. All of the neighborhoods are not tapped into the subway system like New York. You know, you can pretty much get anywhere in New York on the subway in 15, 20 minutes tops.
Okay, but Cody, I understand what you're saying, but let me circle around. I want to pull some more people into the conversation. Let's go to let's go to Badger. Badger, what do you say to that, man? It's hard for a child to perform when they're hungry. Good morning. How are you doing this morning?
I mean, sometimes I think it depends on the kid. Some kids get so used to being hungry that they can still perform, which is a sad thing to say. And then there's the ones that aren't able to. I'm sitting here just listening to everything, and it's just, yeah, a lot of what Curtis is saying, depending on, you know, where you live, can affect a lot. Depending on your food allergies and what you can and cannot eat, and what your kids can or cannot eat, it's going to affect a lot of things. One of the other, let's say, you know, if we weren't homeschooling our kids, there's nothing that the public school has that my kids can eat. Nothing safe. So a lot of kids that have allergies, like anything similar to what my kids do, they can't eat in public schools. They have to bring their own lunch, their own breakfast. So, yes, I understand that these programs exist, but there are a lot of limitations when it comes to kids. You know, it's either you eat this rectangle pizza or nothing. Well, I can't eat that because it'll make me sick. We don't care. This is all you get. So And some kids, they'll do it anyway and deal with being sick just to make sure they have food in them.
Wow. Wow. And see, that's why I say we want to jump right into this thing. Now we're gonna go in order. We're gonna go to Charles, then Rico. We're coming to you next. Charles, what's on your heart, brother? What do you say about this whole situation? It's hard for a child to
I
perform if they're home.
I agree with Leonard, man. It's a parenting
Mm-hmm.
issue because man. I'm in Decatur, Georgia, and I know every corner, man. It seems like they have a food giveaway. They have pantries in every corner, and we talking about all types of foods in these pantries, organic foods, all different types of food in these pantries, and they're giving food away all over. I know if they're doing it in Decatur, they're doing it in other cities. They're doing it in Decatur. I know they're doing it in Atlanta, which is 5 minutes away. So if a kid, like you said, because my wife.
Hey, Charles, your volume is a little bit low, brother. Your volume's a little bit low.
I think everybody volume low, man.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, as a kid, can you hear me better?
Yeah.
As a kid, as kids, man, the parents run things. They're supposed to get up on time and go to school. And I get what you're saying about your wife being an educator, because my wife was also when I was married. And it's a parenting issue, man. You can't, if the kid can't get there on time and your wife got to constantly keep feeding this child, then somebody need to report that daggone parent. That parent need to be reported. Because the food is there. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you got to take the parent take the child from the parent. I mean, what is it? You can't constantly keep burdening yourself on something another lazy parent can't do. You got to report them, man. I mean, it's crazy that a child is going hungry in America and all this food we have here. And it's a lot of food, bro. I'm telling you. A lot of food. A lot of food get thrown away too. But it's a lot of food. It's a lot. I remember when I was in the Army, man, and it was crazy. I had to work in the kitchen one day. And we threw away so much food. But it wasn't like, but we took the food out of these pans that was never been touched and gave them to the pigs. Because they had a pig farm around there somewhere. So it's food around here. It's food. It's just a lot of parents just don't want to get with the program or can't get with the program, whether it's a mental issue with them, whether it's a sorry issue with them, whether it's a lazy issue with them. These kids can get fed, man. It's food out here. I'm telling you, I know it is. There's a lot of food out here.
Let me go to Rico. I want to come to you, brother. What I'm hearing, Rico, and you correct me if I'm wrong, or if I'm hearing the wrong thing. We're saying that it's a parenting issue, and I never said that maybe it's not, but that don't change the fact that these children are hungry. If you got a sorry mother or a sorry dad that's not doing the things that you're supposed to do in order to get you to school or get you up in time and all this stuff, yes, all that could be a parenting issue. But my thing is, what I'm talking about is this child being hungry. This child is still, he didn't pick his parents. He didn't pick the parent that's not going to get him there on time. He didn't pick the parent that's not going to get him motivated to do the thing. No, he or she still have to deal with the fact that he or she is at school. They're hungry. They didn't get anything to eat. Yeah, mama was sorry this morning. Mama didn't do what she's supposed to do this morning. Yes, yeah, all that's good. But I'm still hungry. I'm still having to sit in this classroom, and I'm still hungry. And you want me to perform? I'm hungry. Talk to me, Rico.
Somebody got to mute. First, let me say this. Welcome to a beautiful new day. Second of all, you might as well go on to the next person because you just said everything I was going to say. Mm-hmm. This is the thing, man. Imagine being a school teacher, a guidance counselor, and saying that's a parent issue.
Mm-hmm.
But then imagine being that child and that child still sitting there saying, well, you know what? Okay, my mom and dad are a piece of mess. Mm-hmm. I'm still hungry.
Yes.
You still want me to take this test.
Mm-hmm.
My stomach touching my back. Mm-hmm. It's painful. I'm so hungry. Mm-hmm. That's just like with a child being abused. Imagine a 5-year-old. See, first off, lunch ends at like 11:30 at school. So after lunch, what does that child got? Imagine a 5 or 6 year old trying to get to Popeyes at 11 when they close, and then they already telling you they can't give away all this food that they throw away at the end of the night. See, we got to admit that exists. Charles just said they threw away a bunch of food. Walmart throws away food. Every restaurant you can see in your town throws away food at the end of the night. They cannot give it away. They refuse to. But they'll try to sell it till they close the doors. Oh, you can shake your head all you want to.
It's a law.
But I have you just said yourself you threw away food and fed it to pigs. And
law.
y'all ain't the only, y'all not the only ones that did it. Y'all not the only ones that did it. And so you can, because I've asked these people at these restaurants, why don't they give away some of this food to some of these homeless people? So that is then, like I said, I ain't gonna even go in that direction. You shaking your head and you just said you threw away food. And now, so I ain't gonna even go back and forth on that. Other people do the same thing.
Some of them made a law where you can't.
Hold on. Let one person at a time. One person at a time. Can't hear.
The thing is how can a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old make it to that restaurant at closing time if somebody did have the kind heart enough to say, you know what, I'm gonna give this food away? Somebody will probably have to take and drive around and give away that food. I know a woman right now that gets food every day from Publix, old bread, cakes, and pies. And she takes them and she gives them away. But at the same time, if you're not careful, this woman uses this same stuff at times to try to manipulate people to get them to do things for her. So now you have those issues with the people that have the food banks and the people that have the homeless shelters that overcount so they could get grants and more funding, but then they ain't out there doing the work. We live on Earth, man.
Yeah.
So we saying report to parents. Let's talk about the guidance counselors and the teachers that haven't reported parents in the past that seen children that were sexually abused and physically abused and came to school 3 and 4 days in a row with the same stuff on soil, and they didn't call nobody until after the baby was dead. Then they wanted to go and talk about it. They was hungry too, 9 times out of 10. So, I mean, the issue is, obviously, it's the parents' issue. But when that child is still hungry, that don't matter. So imagine being a guidance counselor and having that same response. Baby, why you not doing your work? Why you won't pay attention? Are you having mental problems? No, ma'am. I can function. Well, what's going on? I ain't ate in 2 days. Well, why don't you get something to eat? Because my mama, she stay out all night, and my daddy, he this and that, and they won't bring me to school on time. And I told them that they feed us breakfast, but they barely going to sleep when we getting up. I woke up late again. Well, baby, I'm sorry you hungry. That's a parent issue. Oh, of course, it's a parent issue. So what's after that?
Exactly. Cassandra.
Besides calling and telling on them, which we already know that most people don't want to do because they don't want the rest of that hassle outside of their job. We live on Earth in 2022 when people don't have compassion and they say it's a parent issue.
Wow. Cassandra, what's on your heart?
Okay, so first let's just let me throw out some statistics because Save the Children is one of the organizations that really keep up with the hunger and different things with children, even in the United States. And it says that since 2020, March 2020, food insecurity rates across the nation for families with children have risen by nearly 2/3. Black and Hispanic children have been disproportionately impacted. They are twice as likely as white children to face hunger. When a child is hungry, they have less energy. They're most likely and easily to be distracted and less interested in schoolwork. They have lower math scores. They end up a lot of times repeating grades. They come to school late or miss school completely.
Yep.
25% of families with children in Louisiana struggle with hunger. Okay, so the food is out there. Obviously, it's not getting to the people. There are people in rural areas that cannot get to the food. We know that places like Louisiana and places where people are out in the middle of nowhere. It's harder for them, especially when they don't have proper transportation. There may be one person going to work, they have one car. So we can say that there's food out there, but if children are not eating, that is a problem. I don't give a damn how much food the U.S. has.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
If people are not able to get the food, it don't mean a damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be real about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just pissed at people acting like parents don't want to feed their children. The school bus may have been late. We could not feed those kids after a certain time. The cafeteria couldn't. If the school bus came late, that's on the school bus.
Yep, exactly.
So how are you going to blame the child for that?
Mm-hmm.
Man, come on now. Let's do better.
Imagine a 6-year-old trying to compensate for that and make up for that on his own after they serve lunch at school.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And see that was my that was my, I'm coming to you, Toya. That was my point right there, exactly, because though it and we can say it's a parenting problem, we can say that, but at the end of the day, what about the kids though? These kids are still suffering. These kids, because they had bad parents, they still hungry. They still in a classroom. They still have to perform. Yes, okay, I will grant that it may be a parenting issue that the parents are not doing what they're supposed to do. I will grant you that. I have no issue with granting you that. But at the end of the day, this child is still the one. It's still the one that's hungry, that's sitting there with the missed meal cramps. Toya, with a T, what's on your heart, sis?
Raheem, can I say this real quick and then I'm going to be done? Because I don't think I'm going to be able to talk much on this subject because this really upsets me that we sitting here talking about kids being hungry and people trying to, please, let me tell you, I remember talking to Sexual, right? That's Tupac's sister, right? And she was talking about how her and Pop would go and steal food because their mama was on drugs and she couldn't get them nothing to eat. Come on now. There are many circumstances where people may be hungry. Get a grip.
That's right.
Toya?
And that's what I was getting ready to go, honey. Forgive me, honey, that I'm glad I'm not one of them perfect people, honey. Because they're perfect people that everything just go right, everything they just do everything right, and everything go right. And anything that go wrong, you ain't got no car, that's your problem. If you sick, you die, that's your problem. Or you by yourself, what? I come from the projects. My father had a heart attack at 24, couldn't work no more, so we had to live off of $500 a month. What you mean? Let me give you another scenario. I know a female who her kids were 6 and 8 at the time, got shot in the chest by her husband. He turned around and turned the gun on himself. Guess what they had to do for the next couple of months by themselves? They didn't get to school on time because you know what? Their mom was in the hospital and they had the belts that they could have and did what they could, but everything didn't go right on time. Then let me tell you something. When she got out the hospital, she was now on disability. So now she got to take care of 2 kids on a limited income. Listen, it is 50, 40, I say it ain't even been that long, but maybe 20 years later, the same young lady whose kids have grown up now. If you count just her without her kids on her fixed income from benefits, she doesn't have enough. She doesn't have enough. So this is not only a kid thing. This is a humanity thing again. Yet again, we're stuck in this world thinking, oh, America, with all this all this land out here that we can just go grab and get some seeds. But just the energy for me right now, just the energy right now that any human being, I don't care if you old, young, I don't care if you cockeyed, chip-tooth, and I don't even care for them kind of folks in a relationship, but I still don't want you going hungry.
Mm-hmm.
What are we talking about right now? What are we talking about? Are we really talking about, oh, but that's a parenting issue? No, there's so many circumstances. You have no doggone clue. We have no clue. You need to be praising God that you came from the situation that you're from. Because some of these situations out here in these streets, that's real. They real. And it just don't flow like that. So for any of us at this age and this time to be having this conversation, we need to backtrack then if that's the case. On black people, so because that means everything that we go through as black people, or whatever race we are, whatever we're going to get your hand chopped off, that's your fault because you stole. But never mind the fact that you was hungry, that's why you stole. Like that's the Pharisees concept for me. You can't do that. I don't think that's fair. I don't think there's no humanity in it, and I think it is bypassing every other situation that's a possibility. That's someone's reality. for your own life because, you know, just you're Pharaoh. You know, you're Pharaoh and everything's perfect for you and your Pharaoh family, and everybody else is just not on that level. And we're just all not Pharaohs because of our own selves. You know, this is a crazy conversation right now. And I'm like Cassandra, like, I'm like, yo, I've been through a lot in my life, a lot of misery from people. But I still don't wake up in the morning with the heart not to feed somebody. They can have it for free. Whatever, you can split it with me. I eat the last bite. But we both ain't gonna be hungry. But I'm definitely, you're not gonna be hungry around me. I'm bloated right now. Seriously.
Wow. And there's so much, there's so many different layers to this thing, man. And I don't want this to become a sparring match or a tennis match where we beating up on each other or anything like that. But at the same time, we got to understand that though, yes, it can be a parenting issue, my focus is the children. You know, if they got bad parents or whatever, they still should not have to suffer and be in a situation whereas they cannot eat. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
Well, nothing's really on my heart, and my heart is not going to change. I don't do this constantly bleeding, because you're just going to bleed to death. Now, I don't know what kind of poor y'all talking about. I really don't. But you can look up where I'm from and how I was born and raised. I don't know what this lap of luxury people be talking about at. But we did the best we could. I'm not even going to even begin to be on the side of those. If the food is in front of you, now you want me to sit there and put it in your mouth? Really? Really? If you're concerned about the kids, you feed them. And you keep it moving. That's why these programs came about, because somebody went and said, hey, why kids can't learn? Hey, let's look into that. Oh, they're not eating. Oh, so let's create these programs. As a matter of fact, Happy Black History Month, Black Panthers came up with a program for feeding kids that had this same issue. When? 60s, late 60s, early 70s. I am not involved or concerned with how you choose to live your life. I'm not getting into arguments about people with I'm sorry. I'm so sorry about it. But when it comes down to how many billion people on this planet, I'm going to worry about me and the children that I make first.
300.
You understand that? You're not going to sit around and tell me that my responsibility is for every kid that's hungry in America. We didn't have everything. Sometimes it may have been just bread. But what we did not do was sit around and wondering why nobody wasn't feeding us. Now, if you can't get like, say, for instance, you need to go, if you don't have these free lunch programs in your Title IX schools that are supposed to be feeding your children when they go to school. As a matter of fact, if you don't have a program that has school buses in your city, but you're paying taxes for it, you need to go there and find out why kids can't get on their bus and get to school on time. What I'm not going to do is run your house. And I am strictly against other people running other people's homes. I will deal with you when you come into my environment, but I'm not going into yours and telling you how to live your life. Because if we started off talking about hunger, first of all, this issue about hunger is always played upon. It's always played upon. Ever since I've been a kid. But I'm from 48601. Look it up and see what the average income is in 48601 still to this day in 2022. Everybody's on assistance and everything. It's never been a food issue.
What I will say is maybe it's not a food issue, but I would say this is me talking. It's a lack of food issue, and
No,
reason why
it's not.
No. Listen to me. When I say a lack of food issue, I'm not saying that the food is not there, but just like I said about the bank, the money's in the bank, but it's not yours. And so if the food could very well be there, but if the children don't have access to get to it, and for whatever reason, nobody said that. My thing is right here. You got to understand that there are situations, and
exactly. I do understand, but they're not my situations.
Well, see that's what we did.
Other people's personal lives.
That's what we differ, because my thing is, I care how they say trick love the kids. I love the kids, and I'm gonna do whatever I can do and whenever I can do it.
And I would
to make sure
advise
that the
y'all, if
kids-
y'all got problems like this in the areas where y'all live, that y'all get a little sliver of land, set up a little hut so you can feed them kids before they go to their school.
Wow, that's the solution. Okay, Charles, what's on your heart?
I just I'm dead on Leonard, man.
Wow.
Hey, look, it's not a thing about letting a child go hungry. It's not like a child will walk up to you and say, "Hey, I'm hungry," and you say, "Well, go find it yourself." That's not what we're saying. Because if a child walk up to me and say, "I'm hungry," just like some grown people walk up to me and say, "I'm hungry," and I feed them, that's understood. We do that. But you're not going to walk up to me every day and do it without me questioning what is going on. You understand? Wait a minute. What's going on that you can't eat every day? Now, let's fix that problem, because I can't just keep feeding you and let you go back into that bad situation, just like a parent can't or a teacher can't keep seeing a kid come to school with a black eye and don't say nothing about it. The kid keep coming to school with a black eye and dirty clothes. Something got to be done. You don't just fix the black eye that day and just let the kid go away. You fix the black eye and then you find out why this kid keep coming with a black eye. You know what I'm saying?
Rico.
That's what you do. You fix the problem. You feed them right then and there, but you find out why we having this. Why is this ongoing that I got to keep feeding you every day? That's not my responsibility.
Wow.
Now, as a human, I'm going to help you because I'm a human and I don't want you to starve. But we have to find out what's the problem. Because we never find out what's the problem. It's going to keep going on and on and on and on and on. And like Leonard said, it's been food programs since, like he said, since the Black Panther days. There's been food programs all over the United States. And if you don't have them in your area that you're paying taxes on, then you need to get on them.
What good is that if like Rico was talking about, that this 5-year-old child, they can't get to them food banks? Like I say about the money, I'm giving you all an example. I'm giving you all an example. I say, and I said this many times, and I said it for a reason. The money's in the bank, but it's not.
What I said though.
You say the food banks are there, and the stuff is there. What do you say?
I said, feed the child for that time and find out why these issues are going on.
Okay, you missed what I asked you. I was speaking on a specific thing that you said. You said the food bank is there and the food is there. That's what that's the part I'm speaking on. You say the food bank is there, and I say, what good is it if the children cannot get to it? That's the specific part I'm speaking on right there.
Okay, then find out why they can't get to it.
Wow.
See, this is
and then when you find out, when you find out it's a parent issue, then what?
Then that's neglect.
You tell me what you do then.
No, you see what I'm saying? That's why the Black Panthers existed.
Right, because they help them.
Let's find out. They won't do nothing. That's the problem.
Hold on, everybody. Hold on. I got two. Hold on. I got hold on, man. I got three people that just called in. Let me Tucson was the next one. Tucson, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Y'all fussing this morning, ain't you?
No, man, we know everybody passionate, brother. You know,
I'm not saying. I'm just talking.
Yeah,
I'm just talking. It's passionate.
Yeah,
I think that this is passionate because this is the conversation that we have. That's because it requires resolve. Anything that requires a resolution, it get heated because here we are. This is how we are. You know what I listen to a conversation like this, and I say, the only way that I look at people that are without is it could be me. It could be me. If it wasn't for grace, it could have been me.
Yeah.
That's it. I can't say it. Just me now. I can't say it's not me. I don't worry about that. Thank God it ain't. Okay. But it could be me. So just because it could be me, and I have to try to look at it as if it was me. And then try to do something. And because see, I think yesterday and I wasn't involved in the conversation, but it was talking about single mothers, wasn't it?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. How did she become a single mother? Is it one way to become a single mother? How many
There's a
children
lot of
she got?
avenues.
What kind of
Mhm.
situation? Yeah. What put her in that situation? What keeps her in that situation?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really, you don't know. You really don't know because there is no one situation, one scenario in people's lives that you can just put it in a bucket and say that's it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
That's just me now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
It's
I
good.
look at it and I say, well, you know what? Here's this kid. He comes to school and you dress him. And he comes back to school maybe a couple of days and he still have the same clothes on and he keep having the same clothes on until they wear out.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Wow. Wow.
And then you don't think about it. It's possible that the parents, maybe not, I don't know what they're struggling with.
Yeah.
So what do I say? The hell with the kid? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Wow. That's good. Let me go. We got another call. I'm trying to get to all my callers, and Rico, he losing himself over there. We got another caller from the 773 area code. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name?
Can you hear me? This is Willa Brown.
Hey, Willa, how you doing this morning? Yes, we can hear you. Willa,
Hey,
I
I'm
know
doing fine.
I know you've been
I'm
listening for a
doing
minute.
fine.
What's on your heart, sister? Talk
Yeah,
to
I've
me.
been really busy. I've really been missing you guys. And I just thank God that I was able to join in this morning.
Mm-hmm. Good to have you.
What's on my heart and what really was on my heart and felt hard was when that gentleman was saying that, you can't run two households and, the really negative talk that he was talking, that it really saddened me. It really saddened me because if I see somebody out there hungry, I'm definitely going to feed them. That's me.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody have their own right to their own opinion. But you know what? That's what's wrong with the world today. It's all about everybody being in a bubble, and they think that it's just about them, but it's not. It's not. When I was younger, it was a young man that came to my sister's party at 9 years old. His mother was an alcoholic, and his father was a drug addict that wasn't barely at home to feed him. When he came to that party at 9 years old, he never left. His name was Derek Wilson. And my mother and my father raised that young man, and they gave him an opportunity in life. It wasn't his fault that his mother was a drug addict and his mother was an alcoholic and his dad was a drug addict.
Mm-hmm.
If we sit up there and we say that it's okay that a young child who didn't ask to be here and don't have no feelings or concern about what's going on, I do agree. We need to find out the root cause, but I don't agree that we don't do anything.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And that's my opinion.
And Curtis, you being who you are, we got another caller. I think Tiffany's on the line. I'm gonna go to her after Curtis. But Curtis, you being in the field that you're in, dealing with the children that had been caught up in that system. And when we say we're call the people and turn them over to the system, Curtis, is that always the right answer, the best answer?
No, it is not, because the system is not adequately nor sufficiently staffed as far as check balances. So you might wind up putting a kid in the system, sending the kid to a foster care home. That's even worse. And this is no disrespect to the foster care providers, because my sister Cassandra is actually getting her paperwork straight and get ready to be a foster care provider. And that is admirable. Whatever kid goes there is going to be elated. But there are some who are in this business, who are in this foster care system strictly for a check. And I have run into several clients where they have been mistreated. But I'm going to say this.
I never thought I would say this. Hell, I get you, but I don't understand it, bro. And I only say that because I know that you are a man that is filled with the idea of community and unity. And it is our responsibility as a community to take care of the children and the elderly. Raheem, I think this directly correlates, and you didn't say it, but I wish you would say what your favorite scripture is.
Yes.
This directly ties into your favorite scripture. And when we deny that, okay, poor parenting could be the elephant in the room. Poor parenting could be one of the people in the room. It's a bigger elephant in the room. So you gotta speak issues. You got the procedure. You gotta speak issues. A lot of times, to be honest with you, a lot of these food banks that's in these desert, what they call food desert communities, brother, they close at 5 o'clock. So if you don't get it by 5, you ain't getting it. You know, there's no service. There's money out there that's tossed to it, but there's no real concerted effort to go beyond the minimal. You know, at the end of the day, man, I'm a believer in community, man, and we have a responsibility. Now, the devil has shown us time and time again, and I'll just end with this. The devil has shown us time and time again that every time he needs to attack, he attacks or he takes away from our most vulnerable population. What is our most vulnerable population? Children and the elderly.
Well, exactly.
Those are the most vulnerable populations. So, you know,
gotta wrap it up,
we have
Curtis.
a responsibility as a community. That's all I'm saying. We have a responsibility as a community to see to the needs of the less fortunate.
Good deal. And with love and kindness have I drawn thee. Absolutely, with love and kindness have I drawn thee. Let me go to Tiffany. Tiffany, good morning. How you doing this morning?
I'm okay.
Okay.
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm doing well, doing well. Good to have you with us, sister. We talking about children cannot learn when they're hungry, and we've been going, back and forth. It's become a little passionate. Everybody can have their own feelings about this. What do you say to that?
So I have so many different thoughts, but one, I just want to say real quick, I know somebody that works at a cafeteria in a school here in Atlanta, and, they see hungry children all the time, and they, they're not allowed to give kids extra, and they were told not only to throw away the food, but to put bleach on it.
Woo!
So that other people wouldn't
Good
be able
Lord.
to eat it. So
Good Lord.
that's how deep it was, and she ended up quitting because she wanted to feed the kids and she couldn't. So that's something. But I want to say a couple things. One, Michael Jackson said it best: if you can't feed the baby, don't have the baby. We out here doing, we can't. And children, unfortunately, are casualties of their parents' war. And it's sad. I was casualty of my parents' war. You know what I'm saying? You can't help who you're born to. But as a community, people keep talking about community. It makes me think about some story in the Bible, because I'm not Bible literate, about the guy that was sitting outside the church or the synagogue, and he said his legs didn't work or whatever, and he was asking people for stuff every day. And then eventually he got his legs fixed so he can take care of himself the way that he needs to. We keep talking about community. We have to take it back to Africa. We have to take it back to even back in the days, in the slave days. You had to learn how to take care of yourself. The men taught the guys how to go hunt and fish and do whatever. The women taught the girls how to take care of the home and how to cook and stuff like that. If you want to talk about community, let's talk about community. We can go out and get that bag. We can go to get those purses. We can get those designer clothes and stuff like that. Why can't we come together, buy pots, go to Home Depot and buy planting plots and teach people how to put gardens in their apartments and stuff like that? We make more excuses than Negroes going to jail why we can't do, why we shouldn't do, why we can't do, when there's little things that we can do. Shoot, we can teach our babies how to grow their own foods and stuff like that so they can have something to eat. You know, it's sad that we're so focused on our own lives that we don't see that together. That's the only way we're going to get through. And it's sad that we can talk about the Panthers and what they started and stuff, but if the kids are still hungry, there's a problem. And a lot of times with us, we want to do something on a major scale. It might not be feeding the whole block, but I can feed my next door neighbor. I can make sure they good. You know what I'm saying? If they're, let me see what you need. Are you bad with money? Do you need to learn how to budget or something like that? You help them so that they can be self-sufficient. But if you just keep feeding and the situation's not getting better, then you're just an enabler. You got to have solutions to the problem. So that's what I'm going to say, because I could say more, but there's no right or wrong answer. We're so frustrated and stuff like that. But as long as we go against the grain, we're always going to be having these same conversations.
Wow. That's good. That's good. And it's so much, man. There's so many different layers. That's why I say I wanted to jump right into this topic, man. I couldn't play around with anything else before we got here because I knew what this was going to be. Badger, what's on your heart?
So I was weighing a lot of things, and there's some stuff I've been keeping track of, and it's something that Franklin Roosevelt did. Living wage. There are people right now in our Congress from different states trying to fight to make sure people can earn a living wage. That's one step, one problem. Now, talking about some of these food banks that people are bringing up. Some of the food banks around where I live, and it wouldn't surprise me if it's other places. You know, you have to pick through vegetables or fruit that are rotting because it's food that's over its time. That's what a lot of food banks get from these grocery stores and other things like that. It's so rare they get fresh anything, it's not even funny. And if you look at the quality of food, which I guess we shouldn't be picky, if we're having to do that, that stuff has so much bad things in it that people that have diabetes can't eat it, people that have food allergies can't eat it, and quite a few other things. But I guess we're just being picky, we'll just eat it and get sick anyway, I guess that's the only option we have left, depending on a person's perspective. Or wait, we'll just, spend $5,000 and be able to move to a state that actually offers more. So to me, the powers that be are the problem. That's why I'm always talking about it. Because when you look at like all this fight for a living wage, all these people talking about, these food banks and everything else, it depends on where you live. You might have a food bank that gets all this fresh stuff, or you have to deal with rummaging through rotting food to find something that might still be somewhat good enough to eat.
Wow.
So is that our fault? I guess it is, because we didn't move. We're still stuck in the area that we're in, because we're able to just up and move and go wherever we need to go. So like there's so many facets to these problems. I've made comments about it. Other people's made comments about it. We're trying to fight the people that are currently around where we live, going, hey, not everyone is as intelligent or capable and need these services. Yet you're giving them rotting food. You're giving them bread that's going moldy. Well, they can just cut it off. Really? So these people are so low, might as well just give them bad food because so that way they can just die off, yeah? The mentality, the selfish, greedy, egocentric mentality that is in America it always makes me sick to my stomach because I see it everywhere.
Absolutely. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Children can't learn if they're hungry. Children cannot learn if they're hungry. Toya, what what's on your heart, sis? Toya?
Yeah. No, hey, this is why God gave us choice, and we all have the choice, and the option to feel how we want to feel, whether it's about hunger, whether it's about color, whether it's about gender. You know what I'm saying? We all have the right to do and feel how we want to feel. But I think sometimes we got to acknowledge the humanity of our brother and our sister. You know what I'm saying? And being our brothers and our sisters people. I think that just thinking about that overrides any of those issues I might have with you, whether you're a man. Okay, so me and men got issues, so that means I should leave you hungry. Or a male child, you hungry? You know what I'm saying? Oh, because I'm, we're gonna use color. I'm racist. No, I don't like black people, so yeah, you should starve. Oh, you're white, so yeah, you should starve. I mean, like all this kind of go hand in hand. Like it's a heart issue to feel like someone should go hungry for any reason, or because their immediate line that they supposed to belong to can't provide something for them that's a necessity, then they need to just deal with it, and you don't have anything to do with that. That's how we wind up in some of these sticky situations with these prejudices that we have. I guess that's what I would say. These prejudices.
Okay. Boy,
color or gender or whatever. It's the same. It's the same heart. It's the same heart. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't understand. And we have to want, as a human, love, empathy. But let me tell you something. If this wasn't a controversial issue with humanity, what else will we be doing? If we didn't have humans that felt like this and felt like they can allow these things to happen, what will we do? You know what I'm saying? I don't even think we can live in a perfect world. I think that's like why we do it. Some people don't even know why we do it. Because like, what else would we do if we just walk around like, yeah, nobody wants to be kumbaya, but yeah, let's kumbaya everybody something to eat. That'll fix a lot of these problems, and we know that. Or just kumbaya, some love. It's so one track, and I know that everything we go through in life, right, and just living, like we said, we talked about defects earlier, and not want to call defects because they can or cannot come take a child. Some cannot do their job, and I don't want to take the child out of the home, and the child can wind up dead. But some of them, because the parent may be spanking them, might be a decent parent, but just because you spank them, I got to take the child out the house, it could be detrimental. That's too much. But at the end of the day, regardless of the circumstances, all these adults, why are we not making sure the kids are eating? Period.
Exactly. Cassandra?
Yeah, I'm really about to cry because it hurts me to the core of my being that empathy and compassion are gone from some people. I don't care what you do. If you do not have compassion and empathy for others, you are doing nothing. I don't care how much money you got. I don't care how much position you got. If you do not have compassion for another human being, and especially a child, then you are nothing. So we can do all the things that we think are important. See, this is why I'm not religious. I'm spiritual. Because when you're spiritual, there is something inside you that hurts when you see somebody else hurting. There's something inside you to say, this child is hungry. What can I do to make it okay? This person needs some shoes. How will I do that? Let me tell you what I do. If somebody has a need, if a family has a need, or if an individual has a need, I go on Facebook. I don't have money like that, but I'll go on Facebook and say, hey, anybody got shoes size blah, blah, blah? Anybody got clothes size blah, blah, blah? Hey, I got a family that needs some food right now. Can you tell me where I can go right now to get them some food to eat tonight?
Mm-hmm.
And because of the compassion and empathy that people have for other human beings, they step up to the plate and we get it done every time. So to God be the glory for that. But I pray that I never get to the point where I don't feel like because a parent isn't who they should be, that I'm going to see a child suffer.
Mm-hmm. Wow. We're gonna go to Charles, and we're gonna come to Rico. Charles, what's on your heart, brother?
Then just listen to y'all, man. A lot of people missing the point of what I was saying, and a lot of people missing the point what Leonard was saying. But
give us some clarity. Give us some clarity. Give us some clarity, brother. Give us some clarity.
I said, feed the child, then find out what's the issue, why the child is going through that. You have to have a solution. You can't just constantly keep feeding, and not have a solution. If your solution is just feeding the child, then okay, that's your solution. But you have to find out why these things are going on in this child's life. That's why they do have these foster. You have to find out, okay, we don't have enough people with foster. So then find out why foster care is not working and fix that. See, all the things that you all, I haven't really heard solutions. I've heard like Band-Aids. You know what I'm saying? Band-Aids over gunshot wounds. You get what I'm saying? You have to find a solution for this. And if a solution is given as if feed the child, or even looking back towards what Leonard said and saying, hey, it's a parent problem. And it is. So we have to find out. And that's just calling out what it is. That's really not giving a solution either. But you have to find out where it's coming from, the root of these things that are happening. How are they happening and why they're happening? I'm not saying, because somebody's going to say this, I guarantee you, well, you can do all that, but you still got to feed the child. The first thing I said was feed the child. Pay attention. Get out your emotions. First thing I said was feed the child. Then find out why this is going on. Again, I'm going to have to say it again because I know somebody's going to say it. No, Peter, feed the child. Then find out what's going on. That's all I say.
Okay, but one of the solutions as well, and I want you to elaborate on this a little bit for me. You say call DFAC or whoever the entity is in that area. And Curtis, he's been working for this entity for a long time. And he said that that's not the answer. That's not the solution to call. And because you could be putting this child in and I'm going to let Curtis speak on this. He's more educated than I.
Let me finish this first. Let me finish this.
You didn't say that.
You asked me a question.
You didn't say that.
All right.
Did you say that?
Listen to me.
Answer my question, brother. Did you say that though? Did you say call DFAC? Did you say that?
That's not completely what I said. That's not completely what I said.
So you left a part out. Go ahead.
No, you left a part out.
Go ahead. What did I leave on?
Right. What I said, and if you have issues with DFACs or those entities in your town, those have to be found out also and fixed.
So basically, what we're saying is just take the child around this whole circle before we get in this solution. I understand what you're saying, brother.
No, I didn't. I didn't say that.
You just said that, man. You just said what you just said was. Listen, man.
I never said take no child around nothing. You said that.
What you're saying is this right here. What I'm saying is this right here. You said to me that go to DFAC, and when you go to DFAC, if you find that there's a issue in DFAC, then go and do this. But still, at the same time, you're taking the child through this whole circle of situations that's going on because of the fact that first was the parent. The parent ain't no good. Call DFAC. DFAC, they don't do what they supposed to do. The child is still in this situation. What about the child? Y'all tell all these solutions. What about the child? Go ahead, Rico.
I said feed the child, number one.
The child is fed, but at the same time, but there's no solution. You said solution. You don't want to talk about.
He's giving solutions. He's giving solutions. All right, this is the thing. All of the above. It's really what it boils down to. All of the above. Now, this is the thing about it. In these conversations, you can't accuse people of saying that they are only bringing up the problems, and then you bringing up a problem which is parental issues. You can't bring up the Black Panthers and say that they did this because this is the reason why the Black Panthers did it. They did it because it was a parental issue. They did it because it was poverty. And they did it because it was a necessity. It was a need for it. So the same people that said, hey, this is the reason why they did it. But I'm not going to do that. That's not my responsibility to feed the world. So it's like it's sort of confusing to hear that the reason why these people are doing it because of the parental issues and the poverty, but then coming right back and saying, well, hey, that ain't my issue. That's a parental issue. Okay, so now here's the solution. Feed the child. But the pink elephant in the room is parental issues and poverty. That's what exists that makes this happen. But then on the other end of it, after the parental issues and the poverty, what do you do? So like you said, Raheem, you still feed the child because obviously, see, this is the point. That shouldn't even came up. It almost made it seem like you were saying, well, hey, you know what? That ain't my problem. That's their problem. We already know it's a parental issue. We already know it's an issue of poverty. The thing is what can we do to help these children that cannot learn because their stomachs are touching their backs? Because it's a problem that has been persistent for the last 30 or 40 or 50 years. And guess what? Would it been a parental issue for 40 years ago when the Black Panther started? It's still a parental issue. So you ain't telling us nothing new.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But see, this is where the problem comes in when you have people talking. They don't want to listen. They just want to make an intellectual point. And then they'll deny. So you have to have other people come in and say, you know what? Yeah, they had you to pour bleach on the food. They told us you had to throw it away. So you have people want to contradict the truth when they're on the same page. I had this man sitting right next to me talking about restaurants don't tell you to throw food away, and then somebody that came right on after me and said, yes, they do. They also tell you to put bleach on it. That's the truth. But see, we can't get nothing accomplished because people want to be so intelligent that they refuse to acknowledge everything else everybody else says, so they want to call them emotional. When the bigger picture is you have an elephant in the room called poverty and parental issues. But the pink woolly mammoth is that elderly, vulnerable child, or the vulnerable child or that vulnerable elderly person. That's the biggest elephant in the room. Curtis said it all. So when it comes down to it, the big issue is how do we feed these children that are still falling through the cracks? They cannot learn because they are in poverty.
Exactly. Toussaint, what's on your heart, brother? We got a couple other people just calling back in. We're gonna touch you as well. Toussaint, what's on your heart?
Well, I just sometimes I look at how we can. I don't know. It's kind of like I'm just so glad it's not me. Thank you, Jesus. Hello, hallelujah. It ain't me. And I'm not telling anybody because I understand what's being said, because really I've learned to listen more than I talk. But when the rubber meets the road, it's kind of like those people that we're talking about. Y'all, excuse me, I'm gonna go there. Let's turn this down a little bit right here. It says this whore is around here with a alabaster box, wiping Jesus' head, and it could have been sold to give to the poor. You so focused on the whore that you don't see the big picture.
Yes, absolutely.
And you don't give a doggone about the poor. All you doing is looking at the problem that in your eyes. That's the problem is that an unwelcomed person is in the bunch and they don't belong in the congregation of the righteous. I'll say it like that. She should get out of here. She ain't got no business doing what she's doing, and you just bringing up what has been going on since the beginning of time.
Yeah,
poor people.
Exactly.
Hey, really? You don't care. And I'm not saying that anybody is saying that they don't care.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that it seems like it's somebody else's problem and not mine.
Wow. Wow. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
Nothing much, just listening because I don't have nothing to add.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing this all my life, man. From a little boy, carrying boxes of food to people, all this type of stuff. So I don't, I'm not invested like that. I do what I got to do.
Mm-hmm.
I do what needs to be done. But what I don't do is sit around and I don't get emotional about it. You can make a problem out of anything you want to make a problem out of. And you can pretend to go about fixing it. That's up to you. It's just not my way of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
The entire programs and things like that have been created and all those types of things or what have you are there.
Mm-hmm.
There are places to go to get help. But what I'm not going to do is obsess over other people's problems. It's just not, that's just not my way. And I mean, I know if you want, you can just send me a script and I can repeat the narrative. But it's not something that I internalize. If people need food, we feed them. We don't judge them. Here's the food. Come get it. That's it. That's it. I'm not sitting there concerned about who you married to, how many kids you got. If you need some food, come eat. That's it. I'm not going into your personal life. For whatever reason you in the situation you in, that's not my business. But here's the food. Because you said you were hungry, so here's the food. Next, we have other hungry people to feed. But I don't understand. It's like, say, for instance, people complain about jobs and low wages. Have you ever lived in a time where people have been paid to do as less as they're going to pay people to do right now? No, I haven't, because I'm only 50. I have never seen a market like this where pretty much labor can pretty much name their price almost. All these sign-in bonuses to even come to some of these jobs. And all you have to have is a high school education. Come on, man. Stop it. You have to properly assess the problem. If you fail doing that, you'll never solve the problem. So I don't understand why people keep stumbling over it. Like Charles said, it does not matter. Some people, the truth will be right here. You can pick it up in 15 minutes or 15 years. It does not matter to me. My job is to serve you while I'm here. And when I'm dead, I'm gone. Next.
508.
Sit here and make you marry and make you do what you're supposed to do and make you do this and make you do that. That's not my responsibility. And anybody who thinks that, go get an alignment. An alignment with your creator. Because some people are not going to be satisfied. What's going to happen when you don't have no more to give? What is going to happen? Jesus put it plainly. Don't even go home. Drop everything, sell everything, follow me if that's what you want to do. But don't act like people aren't doing things. There aren't programs. And some of these people have personal problems that have to be resolved in other avenues.
508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We love to hear from you. Got a couple of people that call back in on the phone line. Let me go to 773, and then I'm going to go back to Tiffany. 773, what's on your heart?
Hi, good morning. I just wanted, this Will again. I was just wanted to comment about what the gentleman just said about you give them food. I kept listening to him say give, give, give. But the Bible says that we'll have the poor with us always.
Forever.
It also says that the work is many, but the labor is few.
Mm-hmm.
That means that, we always got people always talking about what they would do, but ask yourself, because this comes from a personal standpoint, examining yourself now. You know that there's a problem, and you're always talking about it. But then ask yourself what you're doing about it. You could give, but then you're enabling the problem. The next step is to now want to find the root cause and then teach. You want a man to know how to don't just give him the fish, but teach him how to fish. All circumstances are different, but don't take yourself out of the equation as long as you're living, because it keeps you with the heart. Because God said that if you love me, then you feed my people, you clothe them, you go visit them. It's not about your selfishness, because you're going to be accounted for everything that you do in this body. If you're talking about God, because that's what he is. Thank God that he's allowed you to be blessed. And our job is to go out and let him know that the God that I serve, who blessed me, is going to make sure that you're blessed. So I just wanted to put that out there, because yes, it's all about what we decide to do as an individual. Yes, you have that right to choose between good and evil, but I choose to do good. And if I can have one or another from the day I die, then that's my choice. But if you don't have that choice, then you need to examine yourself.
Exactly. Good deal. Good deal. Tiffany, what's on your heart?
This is a very emotional topic, and I think a lot of the problem is we get into our emotions because when we're having these type of conversations, but when we're walking through daily life, we don't have the same energy. You can feed the belly all day, but if you're not feeding the mind or feeding the spirit, you're just going to keep going around like a rat in a wheel. You're just going to keep spinning out of control. And the thing is, if you don't work, you don't eat. I think a lot of us are so dependent on the system and looking to the system to take care of our needs, because we don't really want to do the work to fix our situations as a community as a whole. If you take the food stamps out, if you take foster care out, if you take all these systems that are put in place, you would have to depend on yourself. You would have to depend on your neighbor. And I think we need to get back to that. It only costs $1 to go to the store. It only costs $1 to get a thing of seeds. You can go to the dollar store and get some pots. You can put your money together and you can go to a halal store in the neighborhood and get some meat and have them cut it and split it up and put it in that. You know what I'm saying? There's things that can be done, but we have to do it as a community. We're always talking about what somebody else can do, what are we doing? We have to be accountable for ourselves, for our families, and for our communities. These other races and cultures and stuff like that, we always talk about Mexicans. There's 1,000 of them living in a house and all this other stuff. But guess what? They're eating. They have a roof over their head. People are working. The kids' bellies are full. But when it comes to us, we'll have those same 1,000 people in our house and one person is working. So therefore, there's solutions, but we don't want this. We want this big magic solution. But I'm 48 years old. We still talking about the same issues we were talking about when I was born and before that. So obviously something's not working. And if you are a church, if you're a single person, if you're something and you're feeding the homeless and the people are still homeless, that's a problem. When I was a little kid, they used to have the commercials about the little kids in Africa and donate such and such and such. There's millions of dollars being sent to these places. There's food being sent, but they're still hungry. That's a problem. You can't do the same thing over and over and expect different results. You got to feed the bellies, you got to feed the minds, and you got to feed the souls. And you got to lead by example. being on your show and talking about these issues and stuff like that, that's cool. Getting emotional, being mad, judging somebody because they don't feel the same way you do. God don't want you out here judging people. Is judging people helping a situation? No. And people are entitled to feel the way that they feel. Because there's no one answer. There's no one way to skin the doggone cat. You got to take 1,000 different roads. As long as you get to the same place, that's all that matters. But if we were doing what we were supposed to do as a community, we wouldn't have needed the Black Panthers to feed our kids. We wouldn't need food stamps to feed our kids. We wouldn't need all these organizations and stuff like that. We couldn't be upset about them pouring bleach on the food. There wouldn't be no need if we did what we were supposed to be doing as a community. You got the Bluff in Atlanta. There's 22 churches around the Bluff in Atlanta. There's no reason why anybody should be fed. Have to be fed. There's no reason why you should be walking through and there's a food desert in that community when there's all these churches around.
And also, if
we have to do what we're supposed to do as a people, and stop worrying about all these organizations. We are the organization. We are the church. What are we going to do? And until we clean up our communities, our families, and stuff like that, we're always going to be in the same boat.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let me go to Curtis.
Anyone that's interested in the areas that's like she mentioned in, for instance, if you are over in the Mechanicsville area, Pittsburgh communities, right over there off University or what have you, and you hungry, go down to 1113 Ira Street to the Beloved community. If you got so much hunger in your area, even if you talk to that pastor, he will show you how to create the same program that he created in his community.
Wow, that's good. Curtis, what's on your heart? Rico, coming to you next. Curtis?
Yeah, I'm here right here. This whole situation is a systemic problem. It's a systemic problem that has its roots a lot deeper than just people failing themselves. This whole thing is a systemic and systematic failure all across the board. It ain't one. See, we done got so used to playing the blame game and just being able to point at one person and say they're the reason for all of this. But I think sometimes we just completely lose sight of the fact that there's systems that have criteria that perpetuate certain things to happen and certain things to exist. You know, there's motives behind having a food that's having a location that is a food desert. It's a food desert. Then I got a call. Okay. Yeah, 9:30. If there's a food desert, then the property value of everybody's property goes down, which decreases the average wealth of any human being in America, because most people value is tied up in their ownership of their houses. So if you're in a food desert, your property value go down. That's one. Two, something that we have not addressed, that never goes addressed, and we allow for it to slide right by us every time they say it, and it bothers me to my core, is we never ever address the working poor. We never address. You'll hear folks go, unemployment numbers is 3.5. Okay, well, how many of them people looking at the housing market right now and the market rate? Let me tell you how crazy it is. The housing authority is no longer even giving you the paperwork that says that your voucher has no worth on it anymore, because people are spiking up the cost to just rent a unit. The housing authority is now saying, no, your voucher is for a 1-bedroom, and that is the determining factor. So we got to pay attention. We got to, one of the things that I'm doing, and I just had a CDN meeting. I just had a cohort meeting. I'm on the advisory board for the Mayor's Office of Homeless Services. One of the things that we're trying to push is, or that our initiatives are, is to really dive a little deeper into our own community revitalization.
Good deal.
Not
Good
out
deal.
revitalization, but revitalization. And what that's going to take is, for real, just like America went to a 24-hour work schedule, it's going to take where we are right now and what I foresee happening, and even from a dollars and cents perspective, some of y'all might want to grab onto it. Human services is going to have to be a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week service.
Absolutely.
It is
Yeah, wrap it up for me,
going to be
Curtis.
a non. I'm done, bro. I ain't got nothing else to say.
Good deal. Rico?
Yeah, I agree with Curtis, man. You know what I'm saying? That is going to have to be something that's 24/7. You know, I've mentioned before the CPS workers that when they clock out, that child that the caseworker over is vulnerable. The only time they may see that child again after they clock out is if it's an emergency. If that emergency gets reported. So, you know, I want to go back to what the caller said, man. She really summed it up. It's about the village. And Badger hits on it. You know, this thing is a result of cause and effect. You know, you played a video the other day that spoke about capitalism and profits. And the greed of profits creates inequity, creates poverty and the poor class. And so when you create that poor class, then you have a whole set of circumstances that will be created from that lifestyle. The lack of access, the inequity that's created because you don't want to share your profits or pay people fairly. So we have to talk about the minimum wage increase. We have to talk about in the last 20 years, we've only seen a $5 wage increase, but inflation has gone up much more than that $5 would add up to. We have to speak about the fact that, you know, what would Jesus do? Now, we sort of, you know, transferred over to the homeless situation and this and that, but the question was about this child at 5 years old or 8 years old that can't go to this food bank, that can't find this food bank, that has no control over the fact that his parents are spending the food stamps, selling half of them. Whatever the situation may be, we're still saying that these things are available to them, but I'd like to see an 8-year-old make that happen.
Wow.
The same 8-year-old that had the soil clothes. So you know that the issue when you talk about cause and effect, it's going to have to go all the way back to the source of what created this system of despair. Curtis said it's systemic. And some people not going to want to actually acknowledge it because they're going to say, oh, now you're sounding like a socialist. You sounding anti-capitalist. But like Curtis said, in corruption, if capitalism, if it's corrupt and there's no compassion, it is corrupt. So this has a lot to do with capitalism, the system that exists right now. The reason why we see these children whose stomachs are touching their backs and they can't learn and they can't even concentrate and focus on doing anything else that's going to help them be better because they're too hungry, and we know this happens. So what would Jesus do? What would you do? Would Jesus direct them to a food bank at 5 years old? Or would he just tell them, you know, hey, this is available, go get it? Or would he take them there? See, this is a village problem. This is a humanity problem.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me go to Cassandra and we'll come back to Badger. Cassandra, what's on your heart?
Let me first say that I am very emotional because I'm passionate about the things that I believe. I don't want anybody to be like me. This is who I am. And when I get emotional, as you call it, about something, it's because I'm that passionate. And I am that girl that does do it. I just don't talk about it. I do it on a daily basis. So as far as my emotions are concerned, I'm probably one of the most emotional people you will ever meet because I'm compassionate and passionate about the people that I serve on a daily basis. Not once a week, not on Christmas and Thanksgiving, but every day of my life.
Wow. Wow. That's good. That's good. Badger, what's on your heart, brother?
Listening to everything, you know, I try to hint on community and, you know, minimum wage and everything. And sometimes I don't really say a lot because I guess it's a mixture of just getting tired of, you know, some people attacking me because of the fact that I talk about these kinds of topics and things of that nature, and it's just, you know, they were talking about, you know, minimum wage is up and things like that, and then you know, you step back and look, oh wait, buying a house has gone up, rent has gone up, food has gone up, gas has gone up. Yeah, that minimum wage really does a whole lot for our communities and things like that. And then on top of the other stuff, you know, if you try to do a community garden and things like that, depending on where you live, this is dependent, you're going to run across the people that are going, why are you doing that? You're taking away from the pockets of the farmers and everything else. Why don't you just go to the store and buy their product? So, you know, it always feels like when there are solutions that are put out there that could help the whole of the community, mental health, food problems, income problems, housing issues, if it affects people's pocketbook, it don't matter if it's 1/1,000,000th of a cent. We ain't doing it.
Wow. 508-924-3521. Gonna go to Toya. Then we're gonna circle back around to Tiffany, and we got another caller. So Toya, with the T, what's on your heart, sis?
No, yeah, now we're getting somewhere. I like that. I like the idea of doing it ourselves, making our own supermarket. Everybody pick a vegetable. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? That's what I like to hear. You know, but the next problem is, since all of us been alive, it's been an issue, right? Why it ain't solved, right? It's because we're right. Systematically, we don't want to solve it. You know, they got this theory on why they don't feel like minimum wage should be enough to let you take care of yourself. Because once you start making money to take care of yourself, then you're gonna lack in the work. And if you lack in the work, then, you know, they're not gonna make the profit, things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? But throughout Corona, they were doing some studies on where they found out about the economy. Like, they don't have to do it the way they're doing it. That's like they really could afford everybody what they need to do whatever, and it would be just fine, you know. But that's not the narrative they went with, because this is how we need to know that it is of the devil. It's a spirit. This is a possession to feel the need to want to have something over somebody. Well, you can't eat. Oh, it's your problem. Oh, you know, hey, we got to come up with all this and so to stop what you're doing, what you need, feed them. Right there. Who waits for somebody for? This is a possession to think that it's up to someone else to get the job done for thy brother and thy sister. You know what I'm saying? It's a possession to think that you got to wait on thy brother or thy sister to even eat. You got to get up and get it. You know what I'm saying? And it's again a twofold situation. But that's what we're here for. We're here to build each other up, support each other, get each other back, and remind each other how powerful we are. That we don't have to wait on other people, but to get up and do it. But in order to do so, people have to feel your compassion. They have to feel you care. They have to feel you know. And sometimes that means I can't be no cafeteria person because I'm going to get in trouble because I'm going to feed these kids. I'm going to feed these kids. You know what I'm saying? And in a busy world, on what all of us do, sometimes it's not even the fact that you're doing it yourself. I'm telling you, I know without a shadow of a doubt, some people are busy. But your prayers sustain people that are in places like Cassandra, that this is what you do on a daily basis. This is what you might be able to do when you can. You understand what I'm saying? So just the heart and the energy that, Lord, listen, I want to do what I can and I'm all in. The prayers of that is what sustain people and open up doors for people to do this all day, every day, and still be okay, because that's what it takes. It takes us, not the government and not the enemy.
That's good. That's good. Tiffany, what's on your heart?
You know, during COVID, I've transported vehicles all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
From the rooter to the tutor, I've been to 48 states, 47 states. And what I noticed, I'd go to small towns or whatever, and there'd be Black people. And I'm like, what are you doing here? Because they're from Detroit, they're from Chicago, they're from New York, whatever. And there's places in this country where the cost of living is low, where the housing is great and affordable and stuff like that. You know, back in the days when we couldn't get jobs in the South, we migrated to the North. And, you know, people are afraid to leave their comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we complain about the prices, it's too expensive, but we're not willing to leave New York City. We don't want to leave New Jersey. We don't want to leave Atlanta. We don't want to leave and go someplace else. There's places where the poor, rich, and middle class are living on the same strip, and they're happy. They don't have all the things, you know, the name brand shoes and stuff like that. They're working their jobs, they're living their lives, they got a nice place to live by the water and stuff like that, and they're not working as hard to survive. And one thing that I noticed is on the East Coast, because I'm from Syracuse, New York, and I live in Atlanta, but on the East Coast, it's like we work to live. We work to live. We live to work.
Mm-hmm.
But on the West Coast, it was like you're working to live, and people could actually breathe and enjoy life a little bit better. I done been to Montana, South Dakota, and stuff like that. And I'm like, where are these Black people coming from? There's great jobs in these places, but people don't want to leave. They want to try to make things work where they're at. But sometimes it's not meant for you survive where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
There's places out here that you can afford. There's places where you wouldn't be in a food desert. There's places where you can just live your life and chill, but we're afraid to step out on faith and you know, and live a different life.
Mm-hmm.
When we have children, it's our responsibility to take care of the children. I had my first child when I was 17. And I was working at McDonald's at the time. And while I was pregnant, I was like, there's no way I can bring a child into this world working at McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
So what did I do? I became a healthcare provider. Then I became a CNA. And then I became then I got my CDL and stuff like that, and I elevated. And I did that because I knew that I was responsible for this child. Now, there's some people out here that probably shouldn't be children, but you know what? God made it possible for them to have these children. But guess what? When I was growing up, if your parents were messed up, like my parents were messed up, you had a grandmother that will come and take you. You had an auntie that you could go stay with. You had balance. So therefore, you wasn't all the way messed up because you were able to see the good and the bad side, and you had people pushing for you, you know, wanting you to succeed. And I was in the foster care system and been on my own since I was 15 years old. So I've seen all sides. But the thing is, sometimes we have to step out and do something else when you see that something is not working. It's not supposed, things are not going to work until you're in the right direction. When you're going down the right road, you're still going to stumble. You may even fall sometimes. But when you're going in the right direction, the same things that you keep seeing over and over again, you're not going to see because you're going into the path you're supposed to.
Absolutely.
So therefore, I just wanted to say that because I learned a lot in these last 2 years traveling all over the world, and I mean all over the country, and seeing that people, Black people, are actually living healthy lives. They might not be around a whole bunch of us and stuff like that, but they're happy.
That's good. That's good.
And everybody's being taken care of.
Good deal. Good deal. Let me go to our brother Pete. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
How you doing? How you doing this morning, sir? DKM Radio Morning Glow panel listening audience. And Raheem, I don't know who that was speaking before me, but I don't believe she older than 19 because her voice sounds like a sweet little young lady that's about to graduate from high school.
You about to start something. You about to start something. You about to start something. You about to start something, Pete. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, you about to start something. That's Tiffany Real.
Calling somebody's parents checking in. Somebody's parents got to give a report.
Pete, we talking this morning. We're talking this morning about children and them having to go hungry. And our topic is they can't learn if they're hungry. You can't send them to school and say that they're hungry. And a lot of people say that there's a lot of different elements, and it got a little passion about a few minutes ago, about an hour ago. It was very passionate because everybody have their own stance on it. What do you say to that, Pete?
Yeah, no living being should be hungry.
Mm-hmm.
The earth provides all that we need. So
Mm-hmm.
because of greed and power pursuits, we have individuals that are hungry.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no justifiable, sensible reason why any living being, human being on planet Earth should be hungry.
Mm-hmm.
That just does not make sense at all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if there's somewhere where they can't grow food, there are no fish, there are no animals, there are no seeds and berries or anything, there's enough growing on Earth, and we have enough resources and ability to provide them with what they need on a regular basis and solve the solution to provide for the greater good. So we're dealing with cruelty of man, ignorance, power pursuits, and greed.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's unacceptable that a person is hungry in this modern world. That makes no sense at all.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
There's no excuse. No excuse.
Now, it was said that a lot of this is based on poor parenting. It's based on poor parents and the parents not doing the things they need to do. How do you feel about that? Can that be an element of it, or is it bigger than bigger than that?
It can't. Poor parenting is going to cause some problems. That
Mm-hmm.
means the foundation that should be sound and structured is out of place, has a crack in it,
Mm-hmm.
or has broken in half, or has deteriorated. So certainly, obviously, there's going to be a problem with failed parenting, failed leadership, responsibilities from parental individuals charged with that level of responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody has their own individual responsibility just for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Then collectively, we have a mutual responsibility. So when we see these situations, that's where the greater society should be stepping in to aid and assist to set that foundation back in place.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we don't do it because of inhumanity. I don't care. That's your problem. Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Whatever. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Or greed and power.
Wow.
Because okay, the parents out of place, good. So guess what that means? That means shortly, if we can keep this right here, we're gonna get some product out of him, out of the man, out of the mother, and the children. And we can just about steer that where we want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And we can make profit off of it. And I can gain money and wealth off of your degradation.
Mm-hmm.
Greed.
Wow.
Come
Wow.
on. This ain't rocket science. It's real
Mm-hmm.
simple. It's elementary nursery school conditions that grown adults have.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's the lower levels of our existence reigning at the top supreme and taking the primary position. And this is why we have the nonsense and the foolishness and the injustice and the insanity and the outright high levels of, undiscovered ignorance
Mm-hmm.
going on every day and accepted as a norm.
Exactly. Let me go to Friday. Friday, good morning. How you doing this morning?
How you doing?
Doing good. What's on your heart concerning this, man? The children, they can't learn if they're hungry.
It makes it difficult for them to learn when they're hungry. It makes it difficult for anybody to learn when they're hungry. But because for children, they're learning things that they're going to need to build upon and learn to be functional as an adult and make reasonable decisions in conjunction with just learning the principles and the basic. It makes it even more of a dire concern. Because if they're not getting the foundational things, it's going to make it harder for them to then be able to advance and fully grasp or even think beyond, to even question or challenge their own learning, to dig more or to find solutions that hadn't been found yet, if they're not able to fully concentrate and learn the foundational and the basic things. And that can be a number of causes why poor parenting is an issue, but it's not, to me, the reason for the lack of food necessarily, because fully educated households struggle to provide food because food, healthy food anyway, is becoming more and more of a elitist access because of the overpricing of it, and they've made real actual home ground grown food harder and harder to have access to because they want to sell you 3D printed meat and how fast they can make it produce it in a lab, and so it's almost a crime if you're not in bed with the government to grow your own food. I mean, we can't even collect our own water anymore. You know what I mean? And so these things that we're supposed to be continuing to know how to do, that you can learn a lot from in the process of, if you're not down south or somewhere or got a plot of land somewhere, but it makes it hard for you to get that to do any type of agricultural growth or processes and learning, then it's very hard. So it's a lot of contributions to why there's food deserts, lack of food, and children being hungry. But it is something that it does impede their learning skills, and it's more of a problem because they're learning foundational things that they need.
Exactly. Let me go to Toussaint. Toussaint, what's on your heart, brother?
No, I'm just, listening. We've been kicking this can for a long time, and it's been a good conversation. But then we've had this conversation last year, the year before, and last month, and I thought about this place here. It's called the Daily Bread, and we kind of partner with them. And prior to the Christmas holidays, kind of backed up a little bit.
Okay.
Went back to check on them, and they had closed down. They would feed the hungry, the homeless, and the elderly. But because of the pandemic, they had to back away a little bit because you can't serve people like you used to. So during that time, the question is, what happens to the hungry and the elderly when churches and volunteers back off because of fear of being in the pandemic? People, you can't even get them to go to work at a normal job rather than just volunteer. And somebody said something about the harvest and the labors.
Yes.
It's even harder now than it has ever been. Everybody, and here's another thing I thought about, and I know that's one thing that's thrown out there. Here's another thing, and that goes for me too. Let's talk about this week. How much food did you, because you had an excess, just throw away?
Wow. And if people really look at that number, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. Charles, what's on your heart? Charles, you there?
Give me a minute. I got a patient.
Okay, good deal. Let me go back around. Cassandra, let me come back to Cassandra. Cassandra, what's on your heart, sis?
Nothing. I'm good.
You're hurting right now, Cassandra?
Yeah.
It's a lot. It really is a lot, man. And we got some work to do. We really and truly have some work to do across the board. Let me go. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
Like I said, it's not rocket science. Like I said, I've been a part of a missionary Baptist church all my life. I've done it as a little boy before I could even do much of anything else. I could fill up bags with care packages and all these types of things for people. And we didn't have nothing but each other. I don't know what's keeping y'all from doing what y'all want to do. But that's why you need to go find an organization doing that thing. There are people doing things and they need your help. If you concerned. If you that concerned. Now, you may not be at Cassandra's level because she's dedicated her life to that every day, all day. But if ain't no soup kitchen where you at, guess what you need to start doing? Talking to people about getting that soup kitchen running. I mean, if you really, it's about hunger. Because y'all been shouting about the same thing for 40, 50 years. Y'all should be better by now. Y'all should really be better by now. So eventually, like my old folks used to say, if you try doing right first, you won't have to worry about so much wrong.
Let me go back to Pete. Pete, what's on your heart?
We about to write a song. Do right or suffer wrong, baby.
Oh,
I love
Lord.
you, Tiffany, by the way. I didn't want that to go by, but I really enjoyed Tiffany today. We haven't heard her in a while. She's
Exactly.
always straightforward, and she has the story, can tell you from experience. But man, I really applaud Tiffany for just letting people know this is the struggle. Welcome to it. Welcome to it. Get yourself together, man.
Straight
Ain't
up.
nobody coming. Ain't nobody coming. So you better get yourself together. You talking about what you can't do. My grandfather had a garden. And guess what poor people had to eat when they couldn't do soup? You know, that's why he had that garden to grow them vegetables, to make that soup, so people could come and have soup, man. Greens was always in the freezer. He gave you that if you were hungry. Don't tell me what you can't do. You're not doing it, and you're making excuses for not doing it, and it's getting worse and worse.
Let me go to because Leonard done jumped right back in there, boy. Lord, look,
Then
Lord.
I'm not going. I'm gonna keep my foot buried in your behind until you get to walking right.
Leonard, look, where my mute button at?
Let him say that.
I ain't never heard so many people.
Leonard,
don't want to do right.
Let me see what I got here. Okay, we got a few other people don't call in. Leonard, we look here. I'm gonna hit the mute button on Leonard because Leonard ain't gonna stop.
You didn't even have to come to me. I told you that in the first place.
Well, I'm coming to you, brother. That's how we do. We got a rotation going on around here. We got a rotation. Let me go to let me see Rico back with us. Rico, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me. And we got a couple of callers. We're gonna touch y'all in just a second before we get out of here.
Yeah, I'm back on the level of where Friday and Pete was originally on. It ain't a matter about people not want to do right. It's about that 5-year-old child being hungry and not being able to learn. And the fact that it's so important because, like she stressed, if you can't even get those basic necessities in that program, in that computer at the very beginning, and it starts off dysfunctional or strained or stressed, then that beginning is actually going to start the cause and affect you later on in life. I said that about cause and effect earlier. So, yeah. Parents don't want to do right. Parent issue. What is that going to do for that 6-year-old child that's getting that bad education and just can't get right because they hurt their stomach hurting so bad? It's not a pity party. That was a statement made earlier. So I guess the Black Panthers were throwing a pity party. No, they was trying to address the issue that regardless of if it was a parent issue or a poverty issue, it's an issue that needs to be addressed because these children can't do anything about it. At 6, 7, or 8 years old, they can't be the ones that grow that garden. We're talking about growing gardens. Imagine telling an 8-year-old that can't even learn his ABCs or his damn colors. Hey. I mean, sticking to the topic, we can all sound intelligent, but we can't get no problem solved if we can't even address the issue at hand. The issue at hand is the fact that a child can't learn and an adult can't work when his stomach is touching their back. If that adult stomach is touching his back and he's not taking advantage of all his opportunities, that's on him, I guess. But what about that 8-year-old?
Good deal.
That 8-year-old is going to be a continuing cycle. That's the reason why it's a cycle. Because we still want to try to find a way to try to say that, well, it's their fault and it's their fault. And this situation shouldn't exist. And this is all accessible and the opportunity to do this and that. But if they don't know from the very beginning, they can't show in the end. If you don't know any better, you can't do any better. So we got to understand, you got to learn 2 + 2 before you learn geometry. You can't expect somebody to go in elementary school not learning 2 + 2 and not learn how to read, then all of a sudden telling them it's your fault you can't design the next World Trade Center.
Wow.
Go on and go to college. Get your education. Get right. But you don't even know 2 + 2. You can't even read the Big Red Dog.
How in the world did you bring Clifford up in this whole conversation? He done brought Clifford into the whole conversation.
Because somebody might be too hungry to even pay attention to Clifford, and they ain't studying that. They ain't getting no joy out of it, and they ain't got time to learn. Not only are they hungry, but somebody might have been touching on them and doing a whole lot of other stuff to them. They might stink. They might get tired of being picked on. Maybe the teacher got them in the corner away from everybody and don't want to be bothered with them because they stink. And they ain't got time to be dealing with the pissy smelling child.
Wow. Let me go around a little bit because we got a few more minutes. We're gonna stay just a little bit longer today. Then we're gonna get on out of here. We're gonna go on this area right here. I came to Pete and Leonard kind of stepped on him, so I'm gonna go back to Pete. Pete, then we're gonna go to Toya, then we're gonna go to Tiffany in that order. Pete, what's on your heart?
I'm gonna yield my 3 minutes back to Leonard. How about that?
Hey, there you go, Leonard. You got something else? Oh Lord.
Raheem.
Oh Lord.
Let's get it straight. Let's get it straight right here, right now.
Look here. Oh Lord. Go ahead.
I'm gonna do my best. Now, what you do is your business.
Mm-hmm.
That's always gonna be your business.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be your business. So they put you in that dirt.
Mm-hmm.
So you better be about doing it. I put away childish things, okay, a long time ago, and this is one of them. This is one of them. That worried about what somebody else gonna do. It's not. I can't get caught up in that, because then I would be somewhere in the dirt. If I was just going along to get along like everybody else, I would be in the dirt. So now you can choose what you want, but there are some things that are just absolute truths, and that's good for you. And if you don't want them, okay, I understand. But they're not gonna change for you. So you can do what you want, but I guarantee you, I used to say this because it's so absolute. I guarantee you, you cannot get pregnant if you don't have sex.
That's right. That's right. Hold on.
I guarantee you that. So if you really don't want to be pregnant, guess what you must do? Guess what you must do?
Leonard, hold on, brother. Where's my mute button? Because he ain't gonna stop. When he get fired up, he ain't gonna stop. He get like Charles, and Charles, Charles will talk, then he'll stop, then he'll come right back in.
This is one of those few shows that me and Charles basically have. We kind of agree.
Man, and that's a terrible thing. That's scary. That's a terrible thing. Toya, with the team, what's on your heart? And we have our public citizen. I know you're here. We're gonna come to you before we get out of here as well. Toya, with the team, what's on your heart, sis?
Yeah, man, that's deep. But I love everybody despite their opinions. I don't have a problem dealing with somebody because we, view differently. That's on you, because I'm like, man, I'm gonna do me. Period. So for me, sometimes I like the people that go in the opposite direction. I like bullies. I like that because I like to be around them and then do exactly what they don't like to be a part of. Because that's just me. But I mean, again, for each his own. That's what God gave us the ability to do. For each his own. And you don't have to feel, you don't have to have compassion and empathy. That's what these soldiers fight for. They fight for us over here in America to be able to, have these feelings for. But God actually getting us the right to feel like that. And God said, pay attention to people when they tell you who they are.
Yeah, exactly.
So we have to pay attention to these things because these are human feelings. These are human point of views, human perspectives. And if these are also some of the perspectives that are of people who we vote for. And if this is the concept that they feel with their vote for, now you see why they block certain things, because they feel like we're not getting it out the mud. Oh, they're not going to do it anyway, so let's block the vote. Again, it makes me feel like it's that same mentality. Even though we're just using it for food, it's that same heart that is pumping. Well, let me run for office because this is just, ridiculous that we're got all these food organizations and people just need to get up and make food, even though, you don't let them grow it. Hey, even if the food we want to sell them is 3D generated, We back not thinking about the plan, but hey, we have to really pay attention and listen to these different things that that we're having a disagreement upon, and understand that if these are people who are operating in our state departments, government departments, city departments, then this may be why we have some of the holdups, the setbacks, and the issues because of their perspectives. Not a bad perspective, you know what I'm saying? Just one I don't agree with, and because of the team that I'm on the opposite side of the team. I'm for, if you need it, being the brother's keeper, sister's keeper, I'm going to do the best to try to make sure we solve the problem, you know what I'm saying? Move forward, but we're not going to do disparity. We're going to teach you how to get it on your own and not be dependent. So, hey, to each his own.
Good deal. Good deal. Tiffany?
I'm here.
Yes. What's on your heart?
I don't know who said whatever they said about me, but I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And I also want to say that we can't forget that we come from survivors. If our people didn't survive the things that they went through, if they didn't make a way out of no way, if they weren't willing to take risk and step out of faith and risk their lives in order to save us, we wouldn't be here. And I think that because we're living in this world and we're trying to evolve with this world, we've lost a lot of our instincts. God don't rock no Rolex. You know what I'm saying? And we're out here chasing the bag and stuff like that, and we're leaving our husbands, our men behind. We're leaving our kids behind. We got microwaves and video games and stuff raising our kids. We talk about the poverty and stuff like that, but what about the kids with obesity and stuff like that? We're not taking care of them as a whole. Yeah, there's some that are hungry, and there's a lot of them that are eating, but they're not eating great things. They're not being fed properly. You know what I'm saying? We're so busy chasing the bag or living our best life that we're forgetting the kids that we brought into this world. And if our ancestors were like that, if our ancestors were all about self, we wouldn't be here. When our men got sold, when our sons got sold, when our fathers got sold, grandfathers or whatever, we had to step in and do what we had to do to survive. We didn't have the luxury of waiting for somebody else to take care of us. We had to depend on ourselves. We had to take care of ourselves. When we were feeding those bastards that had us picking cotton and all that other stuff, we had to put the slop together and make something out of nothing. But we lost that instinct. We keep talking about a system and what the system's doing, what all these officers doing, when the system was not designed with us in mind. We're 3/5 of a human being till this day. So why are we dependent on a system that will never work for us? We have to go against the system, just like the Harriet Tubmans, just like all the other people that fought for us. We have to be the change that we want to see and stop depending on these people that show us time and time again they don't care about us. Marva Collins back in Chicago, she was fighting for the kids because we put these kids in these public schools and they're throwing away the kids. They don't give a hoot about the kids. So she started her own school so she could make sure that the kids were fed, and their bellies were fed, their minds were fed, and their spirits are fed. We keep relying on the system instead of creating a system of our own. Our ancestors created a system of our own, and that's why we are where we are today. And we have to get back and channel back into the ancestors, really channel back into the God in us in order to make the change that we want to see.
Good deal. Good deal. Let me go to public.
I have to go, Raheem. It's been a pleasure. Man, thank you. You really fed me today, Tiffany. I appreciate that. Peace and blessings.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Appreciate you, Leonard. Public citizen. Good morning. How you doing this morning? Public citizen, you there?
Hey, good morning.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm here. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Talk to me, brother. You've been listening to the conversation. What's on your heart?
Yeah, I heard the last like half hour or so. So I work in the second largest school district in the country, and they've implemented universal free lunch, free breakfast for everybody. I think it's been pretty good, during the pandemic it helped somewhat, but there's some problems with it. There's waste because there's some rules, like kids have to take everything. That's one problem. And then Another problem is the quality of the food. You know, it's a lot of it is just like breads and stuff like that. That's not necessarily nutritious. I mean, it'll fill your belly, but it's if you eat that kind of food over the long term, it often leads to health problems.
Yes.
So some other people alluded to this, and this is what my main thought on it was: it's not necessarily the food that's part of it, but just a lot of children have emotional problems these days. And it's even before the pandemic. I've been in this career education for like 24, 25 years, and I've seen kids that they're struggling emotionally more now than ever. And I think Tiffany said it. They're being raised by social media and video games.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this emotional hunger, which is like kind of the bigger issue. Not that nutrition isn't important. It's just like there's food out there. There's tons of food out there. Just a lot of it is not good for you. So to take back the system or fight against the system, I don't know if that's how I look at it. The system is what it is. The system is not going away.
Mm-hmm.
Got to reform it somehow. Probably getting more involved in politics. I think everyone in this community is more or less like activist mindset, and that's really good. Being involved in your local community. I know I need to improve my community involvement personally, but just generally, interesting conversation. The quality of the food is very important though.
Absolutely. Friday, what's on your heart before we get out of here? And where VP at?
Hi, he's here. He actually just got off work. Maybe he'll stick his face in for a second. Speaking of,
there you go. Where you been, man?
I work night shift now. So
okay.
Back in.
I got you. Okay. VP, what's on your heart?
What?
Why you got you?
Come on over here. I'm gonna pull you in. You ain't gonna come on the screen and not see nothing.
I don't know what's going on, but I'm blessed. I woke up again this morning.
I know, man. Go ahead, Friday.
I just wanted to say I'm glad that Tiffany, she probably talked more about it earlier. I wasn't part of the call, but she alluded to it again and spoke to it in her last round about just the overall impact of social media and video games and the lack of the parent being there being an issue. And this morning I had a thought, which I think it kind of fits into this narrative. I'll try to squeeze it to make it fit. But in all, we're kind of dealing with a continuum of what has been happening in the last couple of generations with the male figure being out of the home. Because now you have people that are going into politics and are going in and making these things from a perspective where we have generations, them themselves, and then generations also behind them who don't know really how to maneuver in a world or environment of male authority. So it's already this disposition of resistance because the male has been absent for so long in so many different levels and factors. And so even from just the basic respect level, it's just automatic, like, you're against us, and us typically are the women or the female, and then so the children are coming up not really having that balance per se of that male positioning in their life. So now when they see that, it's hard for them to adjust to it. And then so now you have a lot of different policies and even from a point of discipline, like it always seems so much more treacherous because when a man fusses or yells or do any discipline, because it's been absent, we haven't seen it in so long, and people that have come from it, okay, I'm gonna quit, but all of that plays into it because now there's this resistance that's built into it. And so now that you have men trying to come in and reestablish and be a forefront, there's a resistance there that makes it harder for that to happen. And in terms of food, you know, I've already said what I said about that, and I stay with that. That it's really important, and the foundations are important, and that
What?
plays into what I just
Where,
said.
where's
So
my mute?
I'm
Button?
done.
Where my
I'm
mute?
done. I'm
Where's
done.
my mute? Button? Let me go. I'm gonna go to Charles real quickly. Then we're gonna finish it up with Rico. Charles, anything on your heart, brother?
No, man, I'm pretty much. I think a lot of people are saying the same thing, but they just want to go about it in different ways.
Okay.
The main thing, I think, the whole question comes about as what's the solution. That's how I look at a lot of things. A lot of people have just been speaking about what's on their heart about it, but then a few people have been talking about solutions too, so we won't have this as an ongoing thing.
Exactly.
And the more, and like, I get it. Sometimes it's time to stop talking and do. And I feel it. But then some people are compassionate, and they just every time it comes up, they want to talk more about it and just. But they do things about it also. I'm not saying they don't. They're just compassionate about it.
Good deal. Let me go. Let me do this. I hadn't touched Badger in a while. Let me go to Badger. Then we'll come right back to Rico. Rico gonna close it out for us. Badger, give me your quick version, Badger.
You know, I'm always talking about community and the current mental and health state of everything involved. And it's wild to just sit here and listen to a lot of these conversations. You know, I remember these conversations since I was a kid, listening to parents have them and what can be done to make sure, you know, our children and grandchildren have a better world. And all these people have been throwing out really good ideas, and you know, the Dalai Lama and all these, you know, very spiritual, good-hearted human beings that are always, you know, wanting to see us do better and be better. And then I get to sit here, as I like to say, you know, in the shadows, just observing how many times they're ignored and these problems keep on going.
Wow.
When are we going to raise up as a human race and actually do something?
Good deal. Good deal. Rico, two parts for you. Tell me what's on your heart, and then tell us what's gonna happen at 3:00 today. I know you're gonna tie it all together anyway, but what's on your heart, brother?
Well, you know, it goes back to the foundation, being trained, programmed, influenced with positive reinforcement, and also how to learn how to maneuver, like Friday said earlier, how to maneuver in society, how to maneuver in the community, how to survive. You know, the first teacher is the mother, but to me, I say the first teachers are the parents. But in this day and time, we have society has evolved into a situation where we are the generation that were the latchkey children. The latchkey children were the ones that came home and didn't have a mother or father at home. They had to let themselves in and start doing everything that a parent would do had they been at home. But people have to work. They have to survive. They have to make a living. So Curtis hit on it. You know, we're in a 24/7 society, and now we have to be in the 24/7 services because we have these vulnerable people called children and adults that are missing out on just the basic necessities that it takes to survive positively. See, now, like Tiffany said, you got the video games and social media and TV and music that these kids are getting their information from. They don't have that positive reinforcement at home to reinforce what they were learning at school. So that's the reason why some are going back to school not knowing about Clifford the Big Red Dog. They can't read. They don't know the math. They're struggling. It's all about the priorities and the values of society, also the parents. True enough, it is a parent issue. Maybe the parent is addicted to something. Maybe the parent is just distracted. Maybe the parents are just neglectful. Maybe they just motivated by their career to the point to where they putting it off on other people to take care of the children. But they're still leaving the children vulnerable. So what it boils down to is that when you're saying that about the children being hungry, being in poverty, That's a totally different situation than just having parents that are neglectful or I'm gonna say being away from home. These children really have to have that basic necessity of food to even be able to start learning how to function properly. And with that being said, if you missed today's show and would like to see it or hear it in its entirety, you can tune in to www.dklmediagroup.com at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Good deal. Friday, can you pray us out, sis?
Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for yet another day that you've allowed us to be a part of it. In your word, it says there's nothing new under the sun, but the opportunity to do something different. We just thank you for that opportunity. I pray, dear Heavenly Father, that the conversation that was had today touch our heart, encourage us to do a little bit more, dig a little deeper, figure out how to be more part of the solution. Dear Heavenly Father, we know that if we continue to entrust in you, make you our high place, our refuge, that you will cover us and protect us with your wings. It's in your word, dear Heavenly Father, in Psalms 91 that you state, dear Heavenly Father, that you will ensure that if we do those things by entrusting in you, you'll ensure that no pestilence will come to our household and that you will keep us. And we thank you for that. And we thank you, dear Heavenly Father, for the ones that are out there having these organizations that are feeding the children, dear Heavenly Father. I thank you for the ones that are not part of organization, but doing it out of their homes, dear Heavenly Father, or driving around and giving out food, dear Heavenly Father. I thank you for them. I thank you, dear Heavenly Father, for those who will come beside them and help them carry on that mission, dear Heavenly Father, who may not even know it yet. But from this conversation, dear Heavenly Father, they'll be motivated to get confirmation that just go out and do it, to be a part of the solution to help. And we thank you for everybody that has a word, dear Heavenly Father, that shared today, and everybody under their voice and in their lives, dear Heavenly Father, be blessed by them to bless other people. And we just thank you for your never failing faithfulness, dear Heavenly Father, and your forever love. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Good deal. It's been a great broadcast. I want to thank everybody for joining us. And more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DKM Media Group and the associates and the Morning Glow for being a part of your day. It is now 10:20. You're about to exit the Morning Glow. But before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug. Because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you could do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. Now we shine some of this light on you from the Morning Glow. Take it out there into this wicked and cruel world that we live in, and let your light so shine. If you get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Won't that be a beautiful thing? Have a great day. Take care of each other, and please be blessed.